What a lovely lot you are. Okay, so Wheel of Life, please, Maestro. So the past few weeks we've been looking at the Wheel of Life, and we've particularly been looking at the 6 realms in the Wheel of Life. That is first time for Primary Hridaya on the thing tonight, so it might take a minute or two. It will come, I'm sure. And the Wheel of Life is like a mirror. It's like a mirror that we can see ourselves in. We can see the mental states that come and go. And we might inhabit the realms around, you know, the kind of the chopped pieces of cake around the central bit. We might inhabit these realms for longer or shorter periods, but it represents the rounds of conditioned existence. And we will all experience all of them from time to time. So when we're on the wheel, we're going round and round in a cycle of ultimately unsatisfying, pleasant and unpleasant mental states. There is wonderful news that we've heard about again and again every week, that it's not just a mirror. It also teaches the way out of this endless round of dissatisfaction and suffering. And in each of the realms, there is a Buddha holding the key to the way out. So I'm just going to do a little recap of what we heard about last week in the animal realm. You know, so I look in the mirror and I look at the animal realm, which is that one bottom, yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, we'll get that. So, and I see myself as I sometimes can be, when all I want is telly, food, and the pub. When I think that all I have to do is have my material needs, material comfort satisfied, and that's the most important thing. And that's all I'm interested in. I'm not interested in any kind of human growth or potential. In the animal realm, that's, you know, I just want to, I've lost touch with the higher part of me. I've lost touch with anything that's to do with my human potential growth, and I'm happy binging on pizza or box sets. Fine if I get them. If the pizza man comes on time, it's all fine. I'm quite tame animal in those circumstances. But if the pizza man's late, I can turn into a wild, raging animal. And for other people, I hear me say, it's about sex. It's about just the drive for the next sexual conquest or relationship or whatever. It's just the things that just keep life kind of quite tame and not inspiring, no higher aims. And I'm trying to convince myself that that's all there is. It's unsatisfying. It causes great suffering. It's unfulfilling. But with practice and bringing awareness, I can clock that I'm in the animal realm, and this applies to all the realms. We clock that we're in them. In this case, the animal realm, and the blue Buddha brings a book. Every realm has a Buddha in it that brings the thing that that you need. Whether it's the key to the way out of that realm. And in this case, in the animal realm, the blue Buddha brings a book representing culture. And that, if we can respond to culture and beauty, civilization, connection, responding to beauty and the arts and the sciences in nature and friendship, then that response to beauty meets the 3 jewels. Faith arises, and we're off the wheel and we're out of the animal realm. So that's a little bit of a recap on how we've been looking at the Wheel of Life, looking at what each realm represents, how we can be in that realm, knowing that we're in it, and knowing how to get out. So tonight we're looking at the realm. There's lots of different ways to say this. I've heard people say Asuras, Asuras, lots of different ways of pronouncing it. Choose your way. You could call them titans, you could call them jealous gods. And this talk is about knowing when we're in that mental state, knowing for when that in those few moments that we are a titan, knowing we're in the realm of the jealous gods, knowing we're in it and how to get out of it. So the Usher Realm. we'll have a look at that in detail, please, Pranya Hridaya, that'd be great. So they live in a state of constant. They're armed. And that's later. They wear armor and they grasp a weapon. And you can see them there trying to chop down the tree of and the fruits of that tree of enlightenment bear fruit in the God realm. And that's what they want. They want to be in the God realm. They want the fruits. They want to be at the top of the tree. They want to be at the top where the fruits are, but they don't want to do the hard work. They get that. They just want to chop the tree down. But of course, they're so blind with hostility and jealousy that they lose sight of the fact that that would then kill the tree. So that's that realm that you can see there. They're armed, they're strong, they're wearing armor and shields, and they all bear a weapon. This is an aggressive and competitive state of mind. You might remember a few years ago, Vajratara gave a really funny talk, a really lovely talk, and she talked about the mantra of me. You remember the mantra of me, 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 me? It's just that's all they think about is me. And they never have a day off. It's all about me. They've got so much energy, all turned outwards. They're restless, they're suspicious, they're jealous, and they strive after more and more and more material wealth and power. They've got massive egos. They want better, they want bigger, they want superior. They want control and power and domination. And the more I kind of looked into this, the more sorry I felt for them. Because I really got the sense of them being quite small. You know, the center of all of that, quite small with fear. And that's why they're wearing armor, and that's why they've got this sword. So it's something to think about, isn't it? That might be at the center of this. So we think about in our world, politicians, we think about big business, we think about corporate business, the cut and thrust of the business world. And, you know, I think about The Apprentice particularly. They do The Apprentice trampling on each other to get to the top to win that money. But me too. Because when I look in the mirror and I look in the Titan realm, I see myself. And it's when I assert myself, you know, when you can feel in your body that you're asserting yourself, you're pushing forward, when it's me, not you. And I grasp my weapon and I put my armor on and I'm pushing. And I get like this in chapter sometimes. It's sometimes where I'm thinking, what is it? What's the name of the Susa? And get there before Dharmamaya. And I sometimes manage it, but I can kind of feel myself asserting it. Or if I suggest something in a meeting or something and it doesn't get heard and someone else says it and they hear them. And I said that, and I've got that tussle, you know, do I let it go or do I say, oh, sorry, I thought I had something. So that's the territory. That's what we're looking at. So I used to be really competitive in games. I used to live with Dharmamaya and Mokshatara, and we were dead competitive. We played bananagrams after tea every night, and I wanted to win. And I think just with age, I'm not that bothered about winning anymore. I'm not that bothered about winning anymore so much. But there are other things that really, where I enter the Titan, the Usher Realm. And it's to do with when other people are rejoiced in for qualities that I wish I had, and I can feel jealous of them and wish that people could see that in me. And I can feel myself, I can feel like a response in me to like resentment and jealousy and suspicion of the person who is being rejoiced in. But they're not always like that. You know, I've seen them when they're, you know, when they're not so great, actually. But you don't say that, do you? Because, you know, you can't do that when you're rejoicing in someone. And I used to, before I started writing my own music, I used to feel so jealous of women who were writing and singing and playing in public. And that was before I did it myself, and it was so painful even to listen to that kind of music. I couldn't do it because I'd feel myself start to feel so jealous and hostile. that fear of being left out. So that's the territory, that's what we're looking at. We look in the mirror, we see those titans with their armor and their swords, and we think, yeah, me too. So how do we get out of that? Knowing that we're in it is really good. Knowing when you can feel yourself, armor, push forward, got your sword, your heart starts beating. Knowing that you're in it, clocking it, we all do it. And the Buddha offers a flaming sword. So like they've got swords. And it's interesting, isn't it? The Buddha offers a sword. But this kind of sword is a sword that cuts through to the truth. Talk a bit more about that. So the Asuras are dominated by hate. And we'll keep coming back to the sword. But for the moment, just thinking about how there's a traditional link, there's a traditional affinity with a mind that is this kind of mind, this kind of suspicious mind with kind of critical mind dominated by hate that has an affinity with wisdom. Why should that be? That's something to mull over, you know, why should that be? The first time when I heard Vedanya give this talk years ago, I remember thinking, oh God, yeah. And he said something along the lines of that somebody like this would prefer to leave a room full of people crying their eyes out than to not get to the truth of what was, you know, being hidden, you know, and I thought, yeah, you know, that I really get that. There's something about that getting to the truth is more important than saying something that might be hurtful. And I have been like that, and sometimes I still am. So this Titan realm of hatred and suspicion and jealousy, and if you think about Dragon's Den, isn't the worst thing you can do in Dragon's Den is try and pull the wool over the eyes of the judges. They hate that, don't they? To try and lie to the judges or pretend that your income is more than it is, or to say that your thing has been researched more than it has. They go mad with the contestants if you try and lie to them. They hate that more than anything. And I'm not saying that that Alan Sugar or any of those Dragon's Den people have got minds. Individually, they don't go around with minds full of hatred all the time. Of course they don't. But it's that culture that is created within the realms of Dragon's Den and The Apprentice that, you know, they pull each other to pieces to get to the truth. And the worst thing you can do is lie to them. So, you know, those contestants in The Apprentice will trample on each other to win. And we can watch them putting their armor on. You can see them putting their armor on and getting their swords. And that sword wielded in the desire to win. You know, that's what we can see. We can see that there's something in that, isn't there? That kind of mind that has an affinity with getting to the truth, getting to underneath what's really going on. But there is a Buddha Bodhisattva who holds a sword in another configuration of, you might have seen him around, a figure called Manjughosha or Manjushri. He holds a sword as well. But he holds it so lightly and so gracefully. You can see his hand is like this, and the sword is a flaming sword over his head. But he holds it so lightly and gracefully, with such beauty. You know, the brutal honesty that we hear about, you know, that you might get in the arena of Dragon's Den and The Apprentice, in the Titan realm. Actually, truth isn't like that. The truth of the way things are is beautiful and graceful and light and can be held like a feather. So that's if you see the figure of Manjughosha, you can see him holding very beautifully the sword of wisdom over his head. And this is the kind of truth that we need to aspire to. So the green Buddha holds this sword, this flaming sword of truth for the Asuras. Is the gift, it's the key to the Asuras to get out of that realm. And if we find that we're stuck in this realm of jealousy, hostility, wanting to put each other down, hatred, then the next step would be to bring to mind that flaming sword, and at least on an intellectual level, understand the wisdom that the green Buddha is trying to convey. And one aspect of this might be, thinking about how to get out, bringing to mind the Buddha with this flaming sword of wisdom, would be to call to mind our training on metta, the training that we do week in, week out in metta, loving kindness. The metta bhavana that we do. We do the metta bhavana to become more loving. And so the way out is to call to mind our training in metta. When we feel that we're putting on our armor and we know that we're in the Usher Realm, we can think of a teaching that Sanghagita gave, which is very interesting, about the power mode and the love mode. So he said, Sanghagita said that the power mode is focused on, when we're in the power mode, we're focused on getting what we want from other people. We don't really take other people into account. It's all me, the mantra of me, putting somebody else down to get what we want, and we're in the power mode. But the love mode is what we're training to inhabit more and more and more. And that's based in metta, it's based in love. And when we're practicing the metta bhavana on or off the cushion, we can and we feel ourselves in the power mode, we can just settle back, put our sword down, put our armor down. Remember that we're in the Titan realm. Remember the Buddha, remember metta. And just see if we can soften. To bring metta to our experience. There are times when we do have to act in the power mode. If we're looking after a child, for example, and we need to pull them back from being run over or something. But that is always subordinate to the love mode, and it's held within metta. So training in metta, bringing that to these moments when we can feel ourselves armoring, we can feel ourselves holding our sword. I'm not going to use those two because it might be too much. So the Titans are big and strong. Titans are big and strong and powerful. And we need a big, strong, powerful energy to stand up to them. And our usual ideas of a Buddha are, quite rightly, calm, serene, very quiet and very beautiful, calm, serene Buddhist. And then we get him. Perfect timing, seamless. We get this figure. We get the wrathful Vajrapani. Not a calm and serene figure of Buddha. This is Titan energy transformed. So this is courage and vigor and energy and strength, essential warrior energy. He's stepping forward with his foot and he's trampling on negative mental states. Hatred and aggression won't go away because we don't like them. And if we don't face it, if we don't do something about it, hatred and all these Titan energies will stagnate, and they'll go one of two ways. We'll either think, if we deny that we have these energies, then we think we have to be a good Buddhist. And say to ourselves and other people, I don't get angry, I don't feel hatred or any of those things. And that might be true. I'm not being funny. It might actually be true that you don't feel it. I'm not saying that everybody would. It's something that we can do, that we are capable of thinking and saying. Then we can be quite colourless and lacking in emotion. Because this is a very human, completely normal that human beings have energy, or in anger sometimes, in hatred sometimes. It's very normal. I definitely am. And if we diet and say, no, I'm a good Buddhist, I'm just angry, then that turns inwards to things like depression and being a victim, being anxious. And you can see it a mile off. You can see it in people, it squeezes out, it leaks out of people. It either goes inwards or it goes outwards, and then we become sour and full of negativity and cynicism and resentment and criticism. And sniping and backbiting, and it leaks out. So this energy that we all have, this coarser energy of the hatred and aggression, we have to mobilize that. We have to get it on our side. We have to mobilize against forces. And Vajrapani's warrior energy is in service of the Dharma. And he can face up to the Titans. He's not already. I mean, look at him. He's the ruler of the Vajra. Nothing like how interesting the two enlightened beings can look so different. I think that's because we ourselves have both of those potentials. You know, we have the potential for grace and beauty, potential for hatred and aggression. So the enlightenment experience is expressed in both ways, in all ways, and those, including those two. So we need both from time to time. Vajrapani, can we have him back, is an enlightened being. He's an embodiment of love. So that's what you know when there's anger. It's hatred and anger transformed. He's a blazing dynamic energy with his right leg forward, deep blue, trampling lies, trampling obstacles, trampling negative mental state. Just look at him, his fierce expression. Glaring eyes, sees through to the truth. He has a crown of skulls, unstoppable energy, confronting fear and transforming aggression into energy for the good. We have glimpses of this. Times when we face our fears and we do something that helps us grow. Doesn't that feel amazing? It feels really amazing. And that's the energy of Vajrapani. When that energy is freed up and we do it, we do the scary thing for the good, that's what it feels like. So if we're on the path of Vajrapani, the path of Vajrapani, we're working, yes, the picture can go now, thank you. So, yeah, so so we know we're in that energy, we know we're in the Titan realm. What can we do to get out? One thing we can do if he appeals to us is we can bring him to mind. We can chant his mantra, which is Om Vajrapani Hum, very grounded, very earthed. Om Vajrapani Hum, very grounded, isn't it? It's how you really feel that energy. We can gaze at him. We can slowly kind of make a connection with him. And you know, I know this stuff. I know I'm in the Titan realm, and it's like it happened last Sunday, but the week before Buddha Day. I was in driving across the Snake Pass, and there was somebody doing 30 in front of me all the way. And people who know me know that road rage and being behind the wheel of a car, that's when I have this kind of competitive energy. And Vajrapani couldn't care less about road rage. He doesn't care how fast you're going. But I could feel the Ashura energy rising. I wanted him gone. I just wanted him gone, the car in front. There was a kind of a competitive thing. I wanted to go faster. I wanted to drive past him, but I was too scared because I didn't want to crash. So there's this immense energy rising in me. As my heart was beating faster, I could feel myself getting angry, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't bring in Vajrapani until it was way too late. If I'd been able to bring in Vajrapani now, I think I would have felt that energy and kind of mapped him onto me somehow. I might have thought of bringing that blueness in and mapping him onto me or something, or I might have chanted his mantra. Well, just bringing him to mind would have brought in a wiser perspective. And the reason that it's wiser is because it would have connected me with the driver in front. And there wouldn't have been any difference between me and the driver in front, or the driver behind, or the countryside around. Because Vajrapani couldn't care less if I was 10 minutes later, it made absolutely no difference to my day being 10 minutes later. But that groove in my being of anger and hatred while I'm driving was made really, really deeper by that experience. I'm not bringing Vajrapani to mind. Getting home 10 minutes later didn't make the slightest bit of difference. But that groove will still be there, maybe for hundreds of years. And I've got to do something about that. And, if I could have brought connection, if I could have brought Vajrapani in and connected with that wisdom of interconnectedness and connected with the driver in front, I would have just had a look. I was in the Snake Pass. I could have rolled the window down. I could have just breathed in the fresh air. I could have wished him joy. I could have wished him a lovely ride home. I could have done all sorts of lovely things that would have made a big difference to me and to him, I believe. But I didn't. I stayed in the Titan realm all the way back until he turned off towards Bamford. And then I went, Rawr! And then about 10 minutes later, I thought, that could have been different. So this way out, this sword of truth that the Green Buddha holds, this wisdom of interconnectedness, it's just the emptiness of winning. There is no distinction between me and another person. There is no difference between me and whoever wins. It's illusory. It's a complete illusion. There's no difference. And why I think it makes me happier to win in that situation with the car. It's just such a strong habit. That's all it is. It's a really strong habit, and I hope that one day I can change it. Perhaps, if I really work with this, I might be able to. I long to stand here and give a talk and say, I've done it. I no longer get road rage. So another way out is to notice it. You've got your sword, you've got your armor. You're in that realm of hostility, competition, jealousy, putting someone else down, and then you bring to mind mudita, which is metta. When it meets the good fortune of other people. So, we are a strange being. We're strange beings, aren't we? We long to be happy. We really want to be happy. We get the teaching of how to be happy. The way to do it is to be happy when other people are happy. And we do the complete opposite of that. And we get jealous and resentful when other people are happy. When we could be happy all the time, because there's always somebody else who's happy. So we could be, couldn't we? So we need to train our minds. So it's just training. We have to train our minds to be happy with other people's wins. And that's how we do it. That's how we get out of the realm. That's how we do it. Another way is sometimes not of our choosing. When reality just takes away our status, when we can't, even if we wanted to, we can't win. When we lose status, growing old, losing power, being in a situation of being humiliated, when our usual ways of being at the top don't work anymore, what are we going to do? Will we have trained in the path of the antidote, the way out of the Titan realm? Or is it going to be the most terrible thing for us when that all starts happening, which it will, when we grow old, for a start? So just a little silly example is that no one has ever beaten me playing Snap. The card game Snap. I've never lost, ever, a game of Snap, ever. And the women in the community can testify to that. I've never lost. And now I'm so scared of playing Snap in case I lose. So I take on the challenge to the path of trying to transform this Titan realm. Challenge me to a game of Snap, and see if I will try and win, because I'm a lifetime champion. If my sister's watching this, she'll know it's true. So I'm really going to take that on. So if we can, these ways not of our choosing, if we can train in the truth that status and wealth and fighting for stuff is completely meaningless when it really comes down to it. And the only kind of training that we need to do is towards enlightenment, and that will never let us down. And we'll always, if turning towards the three jewels, turning towards the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, is the only kind of competition that we need. And actually, Sangha actually did talk about that. He said that obviously competitiveness and jealousy, and not jealousy, competitiveness and not being able to give away the victory to another person can be very negative and very destructive. And it can actually happen even within friendships. When you're uncooperative with somebody who wants to do something like put a day on at the centre, and you're like, well, I'm not so sure it's such a good idea, or there's something in you that's kind of holding back, can be very destructive and very negative. And Sangha actually said to be really slow to take a stand on anything other than something of real principle. Keep in the love mode all the time, as best we can. But he did say that actually competition can be really healthy and negative. If you take on a positive, healthy and positive, if you take on a competition, say, to see if you can meditate for every day for a month with your friend, and you both get up every day and meditate, then that kind of thing would be good for you both. So competition isn't always, a terrible thing. Of course, as always, it's always intention, isn't it? It's what's behind it. We can practice another way of, this beautiful teaching of giving, the mind training teachings, which I absolutely love. We did a whole series on them not so long ago. Giving away the victory. Oh, that is just so beautiful, isn't it? What a training that is. Give the victory away, give the victory to others. And this doesn't mean being a doormat. This doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It does not mean that at all. It means keeping perspective so that you see, actually winning doesn't matter. What matters is being in the love mode, and let them have it. Let them have the victory, because a victory for them is a victory for me. It's okay, let them have the victory. Putting other first, there's no separation between me and somebody else. So let them have the victory. And how beautiful is that? If we could do that, what a world we'd live in. So this dharmic perspective, give the victory to others. The dharmic perspective is that there's no giving, there's no victory, there's no receiver, there's no loser, there's no winner. There's just connection and love. So this transforming aggression, transforming the Titan energy through the sword of the green Buddha with this flaming sword, seeing through that aggression and hatred and competition and jealousy to wisdom, seeing through that wisdom, winning doesn't make sense, that we're deeply and profoundly connected anyway. And the only thing that makes sense is to transform that, not what I can get from a situation, but what I can give to a situation. And that will get us off the wheel, and that will get us out of the realm, and that will make me much, much happier. So that's that. Oh, that's my talk. Oh, no, it's not. So well, it is, but there's homework. There's homework. So, so there's some questions that we don't always give homework at Sangha Night, but there is a bit of homework with this talk. Blame Vidanya. So where do we experience competition? Where do we experience that? When do we notice competition particularly? Where's that coming in? Can we give victory to others? Do you think that's a good thing to do? When the success and talents of other people are rejoiced in, what happens to you? you know, and this is all very human stuff, you know. Nobody's expecting you to say all the right answers, you know. Of course, a kind of a truthful response. So the main thing is to be clear about when you're in the Titan realm. Know what it feels like. Know what you're working with. Return to the green Buddha with the sword of wisdom, which of course is love, and know how to get out as quickly as possible. So that's my talk.